Everybody's curious, that's for sure. So we've had the big extremes. Last year, very warm and very dry. The year before, very wet. So we've been thinking about it. We've been doing a little calculations and approximations here. We have some answers for you. First of all, though, let's go back. Look at this. Last year, shirt sleeves, what little snow there was to be taken care of. And a lot of times the roads were not a problem. Skiers, yeah, it wasn't your best year, especially early on. More grass than snow in some cases. So we only had about 26 inches of snow last year for the whole season. Now you go back a season and you deal with a lot more than that. Take a look back in 2011, 2012, 2010, 2011, and it was just shovel, 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 shovel.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly, especially February of 2011. It was cold, it was snow. We had 69 inches of snow, which is way above the average. So we've had the last 2 years be very extreme, one heavy, one very light. So now this year there's a lot of questions out there just because it's been so wild and so different. So we put our little minds to it here. A lot of us looking at some science and some of us even hearing voices.
Voodoo, huh?
This fall, I've been carefully studying the woolly bear caterpillar and the behavior of squirrels. I've come to the conclusion they're both very cute. They tell us nothing about the winter ahead. The weak El Nino will have something to say about our winter. It'll probably mean two main storm tracks, one along the eastern seaboard for nor'easters, the other one more important to us, a low track that would move west of the Appalachians and bring significant snow to southeast Michigan. We'll probably get 2 to 3 of these during the winter ahead, at least. That leads to my prediction of 38.6 inches of snow for the winter. That is still a little below average, but it's greater than a foot more snow than we saw last year.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Hallie Vogel, making my 2012-2013 winter prediction, taking a look at 3 main factors. One, the Arctic Oscillation. Last year it stayed to the north, bringing the 6th warmest winter on record. Not the case this year, as it's going to bring in some of that cold air. El Nino, a neutral or weak phase, which means fairly average conditions for our area. And the North Atlantic Oscillation or blocking pattern is also in a neutral phase, which typically means most of the snow for the East Coast, drier than average here, slightly. Looks like 36 inches of snow for Detroit is my prediction.
When you're asking about snowfall during the winter, really you're asking about the position of the jet stream. Will it be a west to east, keeping the cold air bottled up to the north, or diving down to the south with big dips, allowing for cold weather and lots of snow? Well, I've checked El Nino, the East Pacific Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation. None of them are very strong. So that tells me that we'll have a near average winter. But although they're not strong, they do signal slightly below average. So it looks like we'll have about 37 inches of snow. That's my forecast for the winter.
Okay, so here's how I think things are going to shape up for snowfall this winter for Detroit. Take a look at the map now, and you'll see on an average winter, we get a pretty good slug of snow to come in from the southwest. That's when we get our heavier amounts. An average snowfall for Detroit is about 42 inches on the season. However, this year, I think the weak El Nino is going to shove the heavier bands a little farther east to the east coast. And also, we'll have a little dry air coming in from the northwest. That might help limit some of the snow that we might get from some of the Alberta Clippers. So here you go. I'm saying a little shy of average. 35 inches of snow this year for Detroit.
All right, Dave, I've been taking notes to recap here because I'm going to go on record with this. We're going to pin this up on the bulletin board. Chris Edwards saying 38.6 inches. That's pretty precise. Hallie Vogel, 36. Keenan Smith with 37 inches. Dave, you're calling for 35 inches.
Now, here's the interesting part, okay? We did this all independent of one another, so we didn't discuss it. We thought it would kind of fun to see how it came. We didn't compare notes, check notes. I'm on the low side of 35. Chris a little over 38 on the high side. But all those numbers below the 42 average. Right. And so the thinking is all kind of interesting. So I think the deal is if we get over, let's say, 50 inches of snow, the 4 of us will come out and do somebody's driveway once we hit the 30 mark. All right.